That was weird. So something happened. Our Something's going on with the Instagram. I think they're doing all kinds of updates that my IG has just not been working out properly, but we're going to try it again. Hi guys. So we are, there we go. See, I was like, something is not right here. Why isn't anybody joining? So, hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Yep, you're sideways.
Uh-oh.
There
I
we
guess
go.
I have to put it this way. Hold on.
Okay, because before I was live, I was like, how come nobody is joining? This is so weird. Normally, I have some folks that join. I think Instagram is making all kinds of updates. Hi, guys. Hey, guys. Hi, Sherelle. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, people. Hey, everybody. So, thank you for tuning in to the Get Hair Educated series. And today I have Jade of Jade Nicole Hair Art. She is a curly hair specialist over at Diverse Style Salon in Princeton. And tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh my God. Well, I do have bad news that thanks to COVID-19, Diverse Style is not able to reopen its doors.
Oh
Really,
no!
really, really sad. So I'm going to be at a local salon in town, at another shopping center that was right close to us called Sydney Albert. And then I have some fun and exciting things coming up in the future, possibly.
Okay.
TBA. But so I've been doing textured curly hair for 14 years. When I was in beauty school, I had no clue that it would become my thing. I don't have a curly head. These are flat irons.
You're the waves.
I've had my hands in hair since I was a kid. I grew up in a very multicultural area, and I used to take my friends' braids out and try to figure out how they were done by redoing them, by taking them out. So I just always had my hands in hair, and then I finally went to beauty school, and hair was just always hair to me. Texture was never like a thing. I never even saw it. I guess maybe I was naive, or I don't know. I just never saw it as anything different.
Right.
And I remember going to take my state board exam, and I had a.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. We're having some technical difficulties over here, so just bear with us.
Did it unfreeze?
So, okay, so we heard you up to state board exam.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I brought a curly girl with me to the state board, and I passed my test, and I started at a salon downtown New Brunswick, which is a very diverse area, a lot of curly clients, and they just started getting introduced to my chair. They thought I was absolutely crazy that I was going to be doing their hair, and my boss would say, "Just sit down and be quiet and get your hair done." And
Right.
started my journey doing curly hair. It never fazed me. I never was the type of person that wanted to turn a client away. So whoever, I built my book on doing all the girls that nobody wanted to do. Whoever had too much hair, whoever had too much curl, I said, no, bring them to me.
Yeah, I love and I love that, and I feel like that's how it should be, that a true stylist should be able to successfully do different types of hair, right? Like you shouldn't just be like, well, I can only do straight hair, I only could do curly hair, but you should be able to bend and wave and do all kinds of hair, right?
Yeah, yeah. And even as a younger hairdresser, when I first started, it was so hard even finding salons to work in that were willing to diversify their clientele and make a place that was welcoming to all. And then when I found Diverse Style, It was a home, and I'm so sad that it's gone.
I know. I see
I'm not
Denise.
ready for this. I
Denise
think
is
Denise is
on
on the other
here.
star.
Yeah, Denise Diaz, the owner of Diverse Style, is watching. So hey, Denise, hey
I
girl, we have to. I've been meaning to reach out to you, Denise, and I've just been like terrible. So expect a call from me this week. I'd love to talk to you and hear what the next steps are going to be, because you know when one door closes, there other opportunities are abound. So that's
yeah.
exciting. But I want to hear more about you and what's going on and your beautiful daughter.
Oh, I just dropped her off at the neighbor. She is growing up. She loves you. She loves her clothes. Yeah. Yeah, she's starting school this year.
How
So
exciting.
we'll see how that goes, starting kindergarten. So that's
Yeah.
going to be in New Jersey. I'm hoping she's able to actually start in a building and not on a computer.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy times. It's like
Yeah.
I was telling a friend today, they're like, "What? How was your day?" And I'm like, "I went to the post office." Kind of like that's the highlight of my day. Like I make it a point to walk to the post office so I can see people and they can see me.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yeah.
you know, we make do. But we're here to talk about curly hair. And last week you were just like telling us so much information. You're
It's like
just like, yes,
I
and
can't
this and
help.
that. So we
She
can,
was like right on, and we were right there.
yeah, it's like it'll be so nice when we can get like more than two people on an Instagram live and just have like a whole like,
Curly hair panel.
yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. But so what is it about curly hair that makes you so excited and passionate about?
I don't know. It's just so fun. Um, I started I started in a time where everybody was like relaxer, relaxer, relaxer. And it
Mm.
was just becoming a time where people were getting more awareness of the idea of curls and maybe going natural. And I used to get clients in my chair and I would beg them, like, please go curly. I love the big hair. I'm a Jersey girl, so I just
Yeah.
love big hair. Um, and I think my favorite was, I don't know if you remember when Mariah Carey came out with her Butterfly
Yes.
album, and she
Yes.
like on stage touring, and I think she was even did a song with Whitney Houston, and they had like she had this brown dress on, and she had her hair like her curls teased out really big with these like huge curly extension. It was just like big curl like this, and I was like,
Yeah.
I love that.
We
I
miss
love
Mariah Carey's curls.
I know. And my daughter loves Mariah Carey because she's like, she's mixed like me. And I'm like, Mariah, you are the soul sister here for mixed girls, and you don't have your curls.
I know. I'm like these celebrities. They come out with their curls, and we're just like, yay! And then they get famous, and then they start blowing their hair, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, I
Let's
know.
bring back the curls. We miss the curls.
I know. I love the curls, and there's so much around curls. It's not just I mean hair is hair, but there's so much like personal that goes into it, and then there's anxieties or insecurities or just this whole stigma around curls. And
Yeah.
I've never been like, no, I'm like, curls are beautiful. It's your natural beauty. All curls are beautiful. I've never been the one that's like, well, this curl is better than that curl. Like it's all beautiful to me.
Exactly. That's what I say. Like over at Wonder Curl, I'm like, listen, it's all about embracing your hair as how it grows out of your head, and we're just gonna make, enhance your curl pattern. So it's not gonna look like my hair, it's not gonna look like the other person's hair, but it's gonna be your hair, but just better, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. Like when you go into the stylish chair, you want to walk out feeling like $1,000,000. You want people to stop you on the street and be like, "Girl, where did you get your hair did?" Like, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I know
So,
that clients like,
so when you see when you have your first client, like it's her first time ever coming to you, what's the experience like with Jade? Especially like and they're like, oh my God, she has straight hair. Will she even know what to do with me?
Some people are skeptical. And some people, they've seen my work, so they have been, you know, happy. They're more comfortable. If it's been a newer client or they walked in the door and they haven't seen it, they're like, there's no way you can do my hair.
Right.
I just had a conversation with a client last night, and she was like, when you washed my hair and then you pre-dried me under the dryer, I was like, what is she doing? And I was just like nonchalant, you know.
Like, this is normal.
No, I always sit the client down in the chair, and my first question is, what do you love? What do you hate? What is your go-to thing? And what is my favorite question is, what is something you've always wanted but have been scared to do? And so many times you have clients that like, they're like, I always want this, but this, or they have some stigma that's kind of stuck to it, but it's really the desire of their heart, but they're like stuck on the lie or the stigma that's possibly attached, or a bad experience that they had that created a fear. And for example, if you're like short hair, like they've had this thing like with short hair. Short hair can look good on everybody as long as it's like the right shape for that person. And it's the same thing with long hair. As long as any haircut is cut into a specific shape that flatters your body figure, it's just like clothes. Like everybody could wear a bathing suit. It's just a matter of what bathing suit is gonna flatter.
Yeah. And you know, I remember when I had my hair cut really short, and there will be folks that'd be like, oh, I wish I could cut my hair that short, but my head's too big. And I'm like, my head is big too. And then someone else would be like, oh man, but my head's too small. Like, my head is small too. Like, I would mimic whatever they say, because I'm like, those are just silly reasons. Like, just do it. Just go for it. You know, it takes a certain confidence level to rock short hair, but at the same time, it's like, just, it's fun. Like, just get out of your own head, get out of your own way, and let's just have fun with it, right?
Yeah. And I can always tell, like, based on how a client comes in, you can tell when a client is just like, you know what, I'm just ready to chop it off. And then even I can tell when a client, like, they want it, but I know they're like fully not ready. So I'll like say like, well, why don't we start here, you know? And then we can always do more versus going right like for the you really can feel like, especially now that nothing beats experience, because now I've been doing this for like 2005, so that's going on about 14 no like 15 years now. 20. So yeah, you become very aware of your client, and then also, you know, your experiences teach you, you know, along the way. So you just know, like, and then some girls, I get curly girls, they've had hair like down their back for the longest time, and they're like, go here, because they just want to chop it off, but you know, you could tell like they really don't want. So I'm like, why don't I go here, like right. And then see how that feels, and then we can always do a little more. And it's like you take them there, and they're like, you do it the longer length, they're like, wow, this is really short. So I'm like, it's a good thing we went a little longer. But yeah, and I think curls, the experience with curls is, it's an emotional, it's like a whole thing, you know what I mean? And seeing a curly girl, like when their whole demeanor changes after that appointment, and they come in like, yeah, you know, and then they just like wake up with this smile and this confidence, like that is bigger than, to me, than the haircut, because it was more than just the hair.
Yes. So you're more than a stylist. It sounds like you're kind of like an empath, because you have to like feel them out and be like,
Yeah.
you're like, I don't really think you want that. I'm getting a vibe here.
Yeah, that's totally, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I think, and that's probably why, like, I bet your clients are like, love her, must go to her. She's the only person who can touch my hair, right?
Yeah, I've been very blessed with clients. They've, followed me along with my journey and grew with me. I have some clients that I still have since I was back in New Brunswick in
Mm-hmm.
2005, and they followed me here, and they've just been, so faithful, and I'm dedicated to always growing. Um,
Yeah.
classes as well as teaching classes, and
Mm-hmm.
really getting, I think it's my heart to really get the message out there that hair is hair. And when I first started, I didn't even realize that I was breaking the boundaries that I was breaking. And when I got to diverse style, it almost was like a defining point. Like, Jade, you don't
Mm-hmm.
realize like you've been doing this and this is your passion. And Denise was so good about basically clarifying everything that I've been doing and giving a definition, and just,
Right.
putting the writing on the wall, and saying, no, this is what you're doing, and kind of just help me understand where I was at, because I didn't
Right.
realize, because it was just hair and it was just people.
And and that's what, right, like we get so afraid of our curls and our hair. And I know when I would do hair demonstrations, I would have some very timid people, men and women, sit
Yeah.
down in my chair and they're like, my hair is too nappy. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand this. And I'm like, actually, no, your hair isn't nappy. It's just dry. Like you just need a little moisture. And I'm like, here, let me put some pudding in your hair. And then they're just like, what? My hair could do this? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
Yep.
and that's what, like, we need more of that. So let's talk a little bit about, like, I know something like shampooing. Like I think like that's so important. And every time I speak with a stylist, they always talk about like how moisture starts at the shampoo bowl. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that for some of these people who were tuning in? And I know like we've been taught over the years how shampoo is so bad for our hair, but as a stylist, you're like, no, you want
Yeah.
shampoo.
Yeah,
So,
it's like, I guess it's just another one of those stigmas, because we think like, okay, curly hair, it needs more moisture. But it's the same thing like when you're thirsty, and I tell clients this, when you're thirsty, what do you need? You need water, you crave
mm-hmm.
water. So the moisture starts at the water. Oil is not going to give, like, you don't go drink oil. You
Right.
drink water, so that quenches your thirst. And what happens is you need a fresh palette, because if you have like sweat or product buildup, or you haven't been washing the hair, all that stuff is just like sitting in your scalp and clogging your pores. It's no different than like me leaving makeup on my face and just leaving it like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then the next day putting more makeup and then not washing it, and then putting more makeup again. And
Right.
your pores get clogged, and then you start have like sensitivity and breakouts and stuff. So, and then what happens is when you have all that buildup, that's like suffocating. It would suffocate your skin, and it's the same for the hair. It's suffocating the hair. So when we're putting, well, maybe if I put this oil, or maybe if I put that oil, and all that is sitting on the hair, it becomes weighed down, it's suffocating, and you have to create a fresh palette, so that way when
Mm-hmm.
you use a nice conditioning and moisturizing shampoo, it can get inside the shaft of the hair, and you're creating a fresh palette, on the scalp. You're cleaning out the hair follicles for hair growth. And that's
Yeah.
also like another big thing in the curl industry. where I feel like we've gotten so like kind of gung-ho over co-wash. It's the same idea. Like you're wetting and you're putting conditioner, and you're wetting and putting conditioner, and you're wetting and you're putting conditioner on products. And
Yep.
we haven't created a fresh palette. So what happens is that buildup is still there. Then you start getting scalp sensitivity. And then, you know, that can cause hair loss, flaking on the scalp. And like we're seeing things going on like with another curl company, you know, right now. I don't think it's necessarily the company. We've gotten miseducated, because I could see it happening with any company. We've seen it with like another hair company that was similar to a co-wash. It wasn't shampoo. And years ago, and they were like, oh, the hair is falling out. And I'm like, it's not the product itself. It's that we're not creating a fresh palette, a healthy scalp, and cleaning everything out. And the co is kind of like you're in between more styling. So like for my daughter, you know, she has 3C, you know, hair.
Yeah, you're like hair twins.
Yes, you guys are hair twins. And, you know, like if I wash her on Sunday, right? And then, you know, if she's wearing her curls, like sometimes I just drench her curls in condition and she air dries. And then if I want something more defined or a little more hold, I'll layer her, you know, with a moisturizing cream and then a gel, and I'll section it out. And that'll get me like 3 days. But then in between that, her curls need to be rehydrated and wet down. So you have to wet them down, get them drenched. You do put a fresh, you know, dose of condition in, you know, a slight fresh palette, like with a co-wash, which is basically short for conditioner wash. You're just rinsing with and putting fresh conditioner. And if I don't ever again on the next couple of days wash that out, her scalp will become unhealthy and she'll get flaking and build up. But then on that Sunday, I'll wash her again, and I always clarify, or I like to use a chelating shampoo, but it depends on what's in her hair. So like if I have a lot of oil or I use something heavier or harder on the hair, I'll use something clarifying to like break it and strip it, and it'll leave the hair feeling rough. But then you go back in with a moisturizing shampoo that has the emollients and the nutrients and the vitamins that the hair needs, and then that gets replenished into the hair, and then you go with your conditioner. But if I use a chelating shampoo, chelating removes buildup without like kind of like stripping. It's a little more gentle. So it depends on what product I have in her hair with how harsh I go, you know. And it's like all of us. Sometimes we do more, you know, maybe we have a wedding or something and we go heavier with gels or hairsprays or waxes or paints or curl creams, versus another time, you know, you do something that's not as heavy.
So, I remember years ago, I had a customer email me, and she's like, Scarlett, I used your gel in December and it worked great on my hair. And then it was like June. And she's like, but now it's like all gummy in my hair. Why is that? And she's like, did you change the form? No. I don't know if she asked me if I changed the formula. And I was like, well, that's not typical with my hair gel. It's water soluble, so it shouldn't get all gummy. So I was like, let's do, you know, so we did a little bit of digging. I'm asking her some questions, and it turned out that she used conditioner only for her hair. And I was like, that's your problem.
Oh, yeah, it coagulated. It probably,
I was like, it's like all
little, like if you use
I was like,
it's little balls, it mixed with the product.
It was like, and I was like, your hair needs to be washed. You need to shampoo. I'm like, so you haven't shampooed your hair in like 6 months. And I mean, this was years ago, and I think now that, you know, we've gotten hip to that, and we're just like, a lot of people are like, co-wash, no way, I don't use conditioner only, I use shampoo. But that was just something like how she just was like straight went and blamed the product. I'm like, let's do a little unraveling and figure this out. And I was like, girl, you need to shampoo your hair. I was like, clarify your hair, decondition it, start from scratch, and you will feel your hair is gonna feel so much softer. It's gonna really do better. I don't know, like I haven't heard from her since then, but that's a story that sticks with me because it just shows you like how a regimen can make or break your hair, literally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it changes with season. Like what you need in one season might be something different you need in another season. Or maybe you have a different type of a color on your hair. Maybe in the summer you went blonde. So you were using, you know, harsher chemicals and you're taking the hair from a darker to a lighter state. That's more stress on the hair. So you might need something, you know, a little more forgiving on the hair that's going to help it repair more
Yeah.
versus when, you know, like, because I'll get clients, sometimes I get them in the chair and maybe, you know, they were more damaged. So I'll put them on a path to get the hair healthier. And the shampoo that they use from the first time, once they come back and they return, they might need a different ingredient because now that hair has been restored. So you have to treat it at the same, at the state that it's in. And sometimes we have something like, you know, like you said, like it worked one day and then, oh, well, it doesn't work. So you always want to transition and, you know, keep going with the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like we should experiment. Like I've been playing around with my products and experimenting using them in different ways because I was just like, my hair has changed, the products haven't. So that means I need to refigure out how to work around it and play with it. And you know, one thing that I was telling people all the time, I was like, you have to put your cream on first and then your styler. And then yesterday I washed my hair. I used a clarifying charcoal shampoo bar because I was like, I want to start fresh. I did a deep conditioning treatment. And then I did something crazy. I used a curl control styling lotion first. And then I put the sealing hair butter over it. And I was like, oh my God, look at how awesome my hair looks.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. So it just shows you like you said, your hair changes and you have to like transition and you have to refigure things out. It's kind of crazy. It's a little annoying.
Yeah. But it's like anything in life, right? Like, you know, like what you need in one season and then life happens and you kind of like, you know, one way worked then, but it's not going to be the way that like works now, you know? So
Right.
it's the same thing with our hair.
Absolutely. So you guys, we have a specialist here. So if you have any questions about your hair, about products, please feel free to put them out there and we'll be more than happy to answer them. This is a great time for you to get your hair education and talking to Miss Jade. So just for the folks who just joined, my name is Scarlett. I am the creator of Wonder Curl. And we have Jade here. Oh, we have a question from Tisha. What is a good nighttime routine regimen? Oh, good question.
So you definitely like you always want to use something that's gonna cover the hair, and it depends, you know, what you've done for the day. If you're, you know, do you wet your hair and style at night, or do you do it? Actually, Tisha, do you wet and prepare for the next day, or are you a morning person? Do you style it for that day? That's a better way to answer it because it depends.
Yeah. I've been playing around. I don't have it here in front of me because you know I had been using a giant satin bonnet, but I found like I didn't like when my hair was long, it was fine. But now that my hair is like a little bit shorter, I didn't like how I'd wake up and my hair was always crushed. And it took longer for my hair to hang and fall the way I like it to. So I started using this other hair thing that someone had given me, but really, like, I look like a cone head because I put it on and my hair is literally up like this. Like straight up. I put a video. I have it on another live that I did on Friday because I was like, you guys, I look crazy at night, but I promise in the morning it's worth it. But yeah, sometimes it's like I was just like, no, I have to figure out a better way to put my hair at night. You definitely don't want to have any friction on it. You can't wear your hair out. And I'm always mad when I'm watching a movie or a TV show and you see like the woman wakes up and like she slept with her hair out. And I was like, nobody looks like that when they wear their hair out at night.
You're starting to sound like a robot on my end. Is it okay on your end? Do I clear you?
It could be well, you sound fine on my end, but Tisha said I style on wash day and just wear a wrap at night.
Sorry.
So she doesn't re-wet her hair at night. And I'm assuming like you probably want to see like how you can stretch the hair and the moisture to keep it from getting dry for as many days as possible till wash day. That's what I'm assuming because that's kind of like all of our goals is to try to keep it hydrated forever.
Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, she's saying I style on wash day and just wear a wrap. And Tisha, you're natural. You
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I would do more like you don't want to wrap it too tight because you don't want to crush it. I prefer more like a bonnet or a scarf, like you said, to kind of pineapple it up high. You know, like a pineapple where you're.
Oh, now you just froze.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So something that is loose, like more loose fitting, you're thinking. Like not a tight wrap, but something a little bit looser.
It smashes it. So you just want the curls to sit more like up top on the top of your head versus when you have it pressed down or wrapped this way because it kind of smashes it down. But I definitely would recommend like you still need to refresh a little bit. Even if you have like a water bottle with a little bit of conditioner that you mix in or like a rose water or something to lightly refresh your curls, you don't have to douse it. I mean, sometimes you do. It depends on what your hair has been through and what it looks like the next day, depending on how much water you need to add. But it is okay to like spritz it a little bit just to kind of get like any, like if you have like a little dent or maybe you have one side that looks a little smashed, just to kind of fluff it up. But as long as you're not drenching it down, you shouldn't have to add any more product.
Right. And I don't have I have like a napkin. But one of the other ways I would wear my hair is, we answered most of Sherelle's questions. But like, I don't know if you guys, I don't know the ages of you guys, but if you guys remember how like Tupac used to wear his headscarves.
Yes.
So it would be like that. So that's the other way. Like if you wanted to keep as much volume in your curls without crushing it, I would do something like that. But of course, the scarf would be a lot bigger, and then that way, like my hair wouldn't be crushed, my curls would still be nice and formed, and
definitely. I think the pineappling it is kind of like the best way to kind of just put it. Even if like say you get your hair like pressed but you get it like if like how you do like the loose curls or whatever, so you don't crush it. And you do the same thing, like push it all the way like on top of your head and just like, so that way everything's right here and you're not laying.
Yeah. Like I can't, like I found like when I put my hair in a pony, like in a top bun, it ended up making the front of my hair flat. So I didn't have like this volume that I see now. So that's why I was like, I stopped doing pineappling. But I was pineappling my hair for years before I finally just It's just like, no, it makes my hair flat. So I
I
think,
like the Tupac. I like the Tupac idea. That was a good one.
yeah. And it comes down to probably what your goal is at night, right? Because so for some of us, we want to keep the curl, we want the volume, so those are great ways to keep the volume. Hey, and the other thing is if you are looking to stretch the curls,
Yes.
so doing a pineapple is a great way to stretch the hair because then you can pull on it a little bit and that gives the curls a little bit more elongation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then what happens is like when you're pulling it, but you're still in its curly state, like you're not pulling it completely straight, but it's still kind of like I always compare it to a slinky. Like when you take your
Yeah.
slinky and you have your tight coil when it's packed, and then the more you kind of stretch it out, but it's still spiraled. And when you leave it kind of in that position, and especially overnight when you're sleeping, it allows it to set into a new position for a little bit because it's being held that way for so long.
Right. Exactly. So I think there are different methods to wearing your hair at night, and yeah, and it comes down to like, do you want it stretched? Do you want it to stay curly? Do you want it to be voluminous? It's like so many different ways we can answer that question, right?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's
He's just
definitely.
like, I just wanted to know if I was doing it right. Does anybody else have any questions? If
I see
not,
a
we'll
lot
just
of
keep.
familiar names on here too. I'm so happy and excited everyone's joining.
Yay! Good. Well, that's what we want. We want as many people tuning in so they can get their information because there's just so much like misinformation out there. So, did you say missed hair at night?
You could if you wanted to, like say it kind of got a little frizzier or whatever, and you wanted to re coil like a certain spot. It is okay to mist it. I would just suggest to sit under a dryer if you had to like touch up a spot before you wrap or put a bonnet or your pineapple or your scarf, however you're doing it to achieve your style in the morning. To just make sure that it's dry and that you're not going to bed with the damp hair, because then it
Yeah.
can reset again.
Yeah. Yeah. And wet hair is just not healthy, period. I think I'm not a fan of air drying. I tell people like that can weaken your hair over time, and I always recommend using a hooded hair dryer, especially if you have low porosity hair. Um, so let's talk about steaming hair, like the
I love.
steamers.
Yes.
Yeah. Because some of us have steamers. Some people just don't know when to use it, why they should use it, should they be using it. What are your thoughts on hair steamers?
I love steamers. It depends. Like in the salon, again, it depends what kind of, how the hair feels. If it's harder, how, I'm sorry, my phone is like slipping. How I want the treatment to process, how I need the conditioner to penetrate, versus if I choose a steamer or if I choose a regular, hooded dryer with dry heat. And
Mhm.
if you don't have a steamer, you can kind of create steam by getting like a wet towel and wrapping that around and then putting
Mm,
a plastic cap over it and sitting under your hooded dryer and
right.
kind of getting it hot if you need to figure out a way to be creative
Yeah.
and
So
create
would you
steam.
say like if you're doing a deep conditioning treatment, using a steamer would probably be more intensive than just putting on a plastic cap and sitting under a dryer.
It's kind of yes and no. Like it penetrates differently. I can't
Mm-hmm.
always say one is more than the other because sometimes the dry heat could be more intense. It really depends on the need. You know,
Okay.
some people would say even though it's moist heat that it's deeper, but like I just say it's what's best for your situation and what you need is kind of what's better at that time.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes like I have a product that we use and it has something like a heat activated ingredient in it. So with one formula, if the hair is very like hard and has more like a crunchier type of a feeling, I use a product. It has one ingredient in it, and I put it under the dry heat with the cap to really get the emollients in. But that treatment, that particular treatment, won't work the same way under the steamer. I would have to go similar product but different formula that works best under the steamer for, say, if it's more like moisture and I need to penetrate it differently. So like
Gotcha.
like more like in the idea of more like a hot oil treatment versus, you know, like moisture. So like
Yeah.
it always it really depends on what's best for what the hair is going through during that time. Curls always could use steam. I mean, you're never going to ever go wrong with steam. It helps with like the coil, with your coiling, with the formation of the curl. It helps with clumping. I don't know if
Right.
everybody knows what clumping is. Clumping is like basically like the strands of your hair that come together to form. Yeah. And then I don't know if you feel like doing it, but if you can show like, if you kind of, do you have one that's not clumped together that kind of is like
Frizz. Well.
frizz? Yeah. So the difference. So basically the hairs that are kind of clumped together and nice and formed with product, that's the clumping of the hair. But when they start to separate and they're not forming that clump, and we call it frizz, it's also called like spidering, because sometimes it's not necessarily. I'm just looking close at your hair, Scarlett.
So
It's
this is
not
probably like
it's not
spidery.
frizz. We
Okay.
think it's frizz. It's just that the hair is spidering, and we need those strands of hair to form clumping. So steam always helps with the natural clumping of your hair pattern.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just learned a new term today. Spidering.
Yes.
I love it. I'm gonna reuse it. So, Sherelle, girl, I got your order today. Thank you. It'll be going out tomorrow. So the curl control styling lotion. Um, you know, it's so funny. Like I have an answer. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to word it. I don't know if you tuned in earlier when I was telling Jade how so my hair it has changed because I stopped coloring it. So I can't say it changed. Like this is my real natural hair, like virgin hair, no color, no chemicals, no nothing. And I had to relearn my hair all over again because I found that the porosity of my hair wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It's much less porous than when I colored it. So I was just like, oh my gosh. So does frizz mean that your hair is dry? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. So I'm going to tell you this week how I use the product, how I use the lotion is that I use the lotion first and then I apply the sealing hair butter over it. And I think when I wash my hair next week, Sunday, I might go live to show you guys the process. And that's because I wanted my curls to be super defined and I was trying to figure out how to do it. But normally it depends on the product you're using. Like if you're using the pudding, I would recommend the pudding and then the lotion. But now I would say everything is like upside down and try playing around with it. Use the lotion first and then put the butter over it, or try the butter and then the lotion and see which way your hair reacts to it. Because that's the thing, like with the product, it's like there's really no wrong way to use it. It's just how figuring it out and how you like it in your hair. But I usually recommend the Curl Control Styling Lotion for looser curls, finer hair, hair that's low density if you don't have a lot of hair on your head. We love the butter. Yeah, the butter's good stuff. That's what I have in my hair, and it's like, I'm like, yay,
That's the one
finally.
you used on Jana and the jelly, right? The jelly, right?
Um, I used the pudding and the jelly
Yeah.
on her. Yeah, that's like the go-to combo that I like to use because it's like you almost can't go wrong with that combination on all different
I was
types of
just
hair.
about to say that combo is like the go-to for all curls. It like works on everybody.
Yeah. Ooh, Amber says I just got my first package and I love everything. I love hearing that. Thank you guys. You guys are just like making my day. I love hearing that kind of feedback. So, um, love the jelly and the pudding. Love you, Sherelle. I do. And just a little side note, I swear, because I have Shopify, so every time I get an order, my phone goes cha-ching, and I'm like, like I literally do a little dance anywhere I am. I'm like, yes. And when I'm sending orders out, I'm just like, Sherelle, girl, you about to have some moisturized hair. Oh yeah, she bought the cleanser. Oh, her hair is gonna be like soft. So I do. I send everything away with like happy, positive vibes.
Yes, it's
And
exciting because it's so hard to find good curly products.
thank you, thank you. So when hair is super dry, and so that's like a huge problem with curly hair is like everyone is always like my hair is dry. Um and there are so many different reasons why hair can be dry. Can you like in your experience some of the things that you've realized and how you can help resolve that?
Sometimes hair is dry, like we said, because of not washing enough. One person might need to wash every 3 days. One person might need to wash every once a week. One person might need to do a week and a half. And some people could get away with, going 2 weeks. I never say go more than 2 weeks. You have to keep the scalp healthy. Plus, like if you're sweating, and we just have our, your natural body odors or whatever, you want to
Yeah.
at least have a fresh palette. So it's important to actually wash regularly because when that buildup is sitting on the hair, like we said earlier, like it can suffocate the hair and that creates drying. Like I said, like, yeah, lack of washing, builds up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could be you're washing regularly, but you're not washing properly. You
Mm-hmm.
always have to do more than one shampoo. And especially if you're not washing regular, like say if you're just a once a week person and you've been putting products in all week, you the first shampoo that you're gonna do, that's just gonna start to break down your
Mm-hmm.
product. So it could take 1 to 2 shampoos just to break down and remove any buildup on the hair. And then you're gonna go in with another step and you're going to start using a moisturizing shampoo, which is going to have any vitamins or nutrients that you need, because now you've opened up the cuticle, that you removed everything off of the hair, so that way you can kind of open up the cuticle a little bit, because water does open up the cuticle a little bit, and
Right.
now that door is able to allow the nutrients and the moisture to come in. So it's usually that. It could be the products you're using. If there's a lot of alcohol in them, alcohol pulls moisture. So you don't want to have a lot of alcohol in a product.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I'm trying to think. What's another? Like
I
not
say
regular deep treating.
yeah. Or even sometimes like not taking the time to put the products in your hair properly,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah,
definitely
like some
take your time.
yeah, some of y'all just slapping products in your hair and hoping for the best. I'm like, no.
And sometimes we think it's dry. I notice sometimes clients are confused with thinking it's dry because it doesn't have that. They're just so used to an oily based type of feeling. Um,
Yep.
so they think it's dry, and the hair is not dry. it just doesn't feel like that oily type feeling. They just gotten so used to kind of piling on like that product feeling. So it,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of like a kind of misconception of what the hair feels like.
Yeah, like I've noticed, like when I used a commercial deep conditioner, like, just something that I'd find like at a drugstore from
Right.
like, one of the big name companies like Garnier or something. And it's like your hair is always like soft on day one, but that's like all of the silicones. But
Yeah.
then day two, your hair looks like straw,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what happens. The silicones in that, like I said, it builds up on the hair and it can suffocate the hair. And sometimes I think certain things are okay to use. Like if you need something in a pinch or you're traveling or you had to grab something or you needed to do something heavier for a style for that day, you just have to know how to remove it and get it off. So you're
Yeah.
not leaving it in the hair because you have to know that, okay, yes, I can use this, but this is more like this one-time style for this day. This is not something like an everyday type of thing. So knowing when you've gone a little heavier or harsher with a product, just to know, like, you got to just switch up your routine a little bit.
Yeah. And I would also say just taking the time to wet the hair while you're in the shower, separating the hair. Um, it's like it takes me 2 hours to do my hair, but I'm like, if I don't do that, my hair is not gonna look good, and I know it. How can you read labels to know if your products have protein in them? Oh, Tisha, you're on fire. This is a good question.
You
And
wanna, yeah, I would just look for it and just, you want to look for stuff with amino acids. Amino acids are building block proteins, where keratin is more like a fibrous protein. Um, so like keratin would be more like your skin and the proteins that make up the skin on your arm or something.
mhm,
Whereas amino acids are more building block. That's like the proteins that make up your bones.
yeah,
So you would look for something that are more like amino acid based.
yeah. And also I have a post on proteins in my blog, and it talks about like there are the animal proteins because
Protein, yep.
keratin is animal derived. I just learned that recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's made of like hoofs and hair and animal bones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was like, ah,
Yeah, like
that's why I don't
fiber
have.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that could be a little bit harder on the hair versus like a plant-based protein,
Right.
right? So that would be like maybe, like you said, like your rice amino acids, your hydrolyzed wheat
Yeah.
protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's animal proteins and then your plant-based proteins. Yes.
yeah. And I don't use protein. I don't really have protein in any of my products. I've never used protein on my hair since it's been curly.
Protein, you're gonna use proteins more if you color a lot or you're doing more like texturizers. You're changing the structure of the natural hair pattern. So that's when you would look for something more proteinous to replenish that.
Okay.
But what happens is an overuse of protein can be something, it's called making the hair too proteinous, and it almost gets like the feeling of a dry piece of wood. If you were to rub your hand on dry wood, that's too much
Mhm.
protein and the hair can break. So protein on curly hair, it always has to be equally balanced with moisture. You need that 50-50 combo.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, I was like, it's always so confusing when with proteins, and I'm like I've never felt the need to use a protein, but it's good that you explain like it's probably more for hair that's extremely damaged through color and chemicals
Right,
to sort
right.
of like help rebuild it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think
That's when you're
so
going to
many.
use protein.
Yeah, because I feel like so many people feel like, oh, I need a protein because that's what they hear on everybody else is doing. All the kids are using protein. Why aren't I? And I was like, I've never really done it.
And just because you color your hair doesn't mean you need protein. Like, so for example, if you're just like somebody who has gray hair and you're just depositing brown on it, you're not really doing a harsh transition. But if you're somebody that's lifting and going lighter and highlighting, or you like to change it up a lot, that's a client that needs proteins. And it's okay to do those things, but it's knowing how to work with the hair and what ingredients you need for what you're doing with your hair so it looks at its best at the state that it's in.
Gotcha. See, I was confused. I had heard that too. Yeah. I think protein is something that you should use, like, how do I want to say it? Like when using protein, like probably err on the side of caution, maybe, like not going crazy with it.
If you're changing the structure or the chemical composition, you can use protein. The amount that you're going to use is depending on how drastic you're going with your change. Does that make sense? Does that help everybody, like, to simplify it?
I think so. Like when I went blonde, maybe I could have used protein treatments on my hair because it was so dry. Yeah. But now that my hair is in this state, like I probably would, my hair would probably not want a protein.
No, it would make it too hard.
Yeah, my hair is hard enough as it is. You guys have no idea.
No, you have awesome curls.
Thank you.
You 2 hours. We said you guys are curl sisters.
Yes, but you know what? This does not happen overnight. Like I do not wake up like this. Trust me. Like this takes effort and work, and so yeah. So thank you guys. Who else? If anyone, any other questions? I think we only have like a few minutes left. I haven't gotten the countdown yet. But I know that it's going to be forthcoming. So before Instagram cuts us off, thank you, ladies. You give me confidence when it comes to taking care of my hair. You're so welcome. Beauty is pain. Yes, it is. It shouldn't be. God. We need to rethink our beauty standards. But I started today. I am working on a workbook on how to better understand your hair, and it's based off of all of the conversations that I'm having with stylists and with experiences that I've had working with other hair types and textures, and just starting to come up with my own theories. So these conversations are super helpful. You as a stylist and a specialist, like you guys have your hands in hair all day, so you know what you're talking about.
I love
it. So for anybody who is in the South Jersey area, and Sherelle, I know you're in Staten Island, which isn't too far from Central Jersey. So if you're looking for someone to style your hair, you should check out Jade.
Yeah, I'm here.
And how can people find you when we reopen?
So when we reopen, I'm going to be taking clients at Sydney Albert. It's in the shopping center, just before the shopping center where I was at. And then maybe some more exciting things coming. I was talking with Mizani today, and some fun things
look at
coming
you.
up. Yeah.
That's exciting. I can't wait to see as you start announcing it. And what is your Instagram handle so people can start following you?
My Instagram handle is Jade Nicole Hair Art. It's Jade, like the gem, Nicole, Nicole, Hair Art.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jade. This has been fun and enlightening. I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. Oh, some people are just joining. We've got like 45 seconds left. And if you haven't had a chance to try the Wonder Curl product line, please go head on over to wondercurl.com and join the mailing list. You get 15% off. And Yes, the workbook is forthcoming. I just started writing out my thoughts today, and it'll be good. I might have you look over it and tell me like, no, yes, no, yes. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm
yes.
excited. I'm so happy we were able to connect and touch base. And
Me
fantastic.
too.
And that I met you last year.
I know
Good
a
to meet
lot
you.
has happened. All right, so we're good. We have 5 seconds left. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Bye,
week.
Jade. You